If you convert everything in 1 year, you can create a six-figure tax bill. Most retirees miss it. The IRS treats converted pre-tax dollars as current income. That simple rule is where good plans become expensive mistakes. In the next 10 minutes, I'll show you the honest numbers. You'll see when 1-year conversions work and fail. Start here. A Roth conversion is not free growth. It is a voluntary tax bill paid now. The question is not whether Roth is good. The question is whether this year is the right year. One large conversion can move income from 22% to 35%. That spread changes the entire math. It can also raise Medicare premiums 2 years later. For retirees, that surprise feels like a second tax bill. It can't make more Social Security taxable too. That means your effective marginal rate may climb faster than expected. If Roth conversion advice feels confusing, that is normal. Most content hides the ugly parts because nuance hurts clicks. Good planning starts with brackets, cash flow, and timing, not with slogans about tax-free income forever. Run the numbers for your specific situation, then decide how much income you actually want to recognize. Here's where it gets interesting. The best Roth strategy is often not one decision, it is a sequence. Think of tax brackets like stairs, not cliffs. You want to fill a step carefully, not leap 3 levels. In 2026, joint filers enter the 24% bracket above $211,400. Single filers enter that same bracket above $105,700. Those thresholds matter more than opinions. The standard deduction also matters. In 2026, it is $32,200 for joint filers. For single filers, the standard deduction is $16,100. That is room you should measure precisely. Most people never do. They hear convert before taxes rise, then treat every dollar the same. But every converted dollar is not taxed the same. The next dollar is what matters. That is the first big mindset shift. Planning happens at the margin, not in broad emotional slogans. Take Mike, age 58, earning $90,000. He has $800,000 in pre-tax retirement accounts. He wants simplicity, so he considers converting $300,000 before year-end and being done with it. Sounds efficient on paper. In practice, it is how ordinary savers accidentally create extraordinary tax bills. Let's run the numbers. Mike's salary already uses most of his lower brackets before conversion even begins. After deductions, part of that conversion lands in the 24% bracket. Another chunk may reach 32%. If Mike lives in a state with income tax, the real bite grows again. Your state may have different rules. Now add withholding mistakes. If he withholds taxes from the converted amount, he leaves fewer dollars growing tax-free. Paying conversion taxes from cash outside the account usually preserves more long-term value. That detail matters. Most people miss this part entirely. They optimize the account type, then ignore the funding source for taxes. That is present bias in action. Today's cash feels precious, so future tax-free growth gets sacrificed quietly. Your brain values $10,000 in checking more than $15,000 decades later. Evolution built that bias, not logic. Behavioral finance matters here because taxes trigger loss aversion. We feel writing a check today more painfully than future uncertainty. That pain causes 2 bad decisions. People either convert far too much or they avoid conversion entirely. The better approach is usually controlled discomfort, enough conversion to improve flexibility, not enough to trigger preventable penalties. Sarah shows why. She is 49, married with household income of $180,000. She has $250,000 in a rollover IRA. She also has $80,000 in taxable brokerage. The internet tells her to convert everything before rates change. The honest math says slow down. At her income, a full conversion may push her well above the 24% bracket. That is expensive acceleration. A staged plan might convert $30,000 this year, another $30,000 next year. Then reassess with real returns. That does not sound exciting. It sounds disciplined, repeatable, and boring. That is why it often works. Here's what behavioral finance research keeps showing. Good financial outcomes usually come from process, not dramatic single moves. 1-year conversions are attractive because they feel decisive. Decisive is not the same as efficient. Anchoring makes this worse. Once someone sees a giant future tax estimate, they rush to eliminate it immediately. But tax planning is rarely solved in one shot. You are managing lifetime brackets, not winning a weekend challenge. Medicare changes the math fast. Part B in 2026 starts at $202.90. That is the standard premium. Higher income can push it to $649.20. At the top tier, it rises to $689.90, before other healthcare costs. For couples, higher premiums begin above $18,000 of modified income. One big conversion can cross it. And Medicare uses a 2-year look-back. One aggressive conversion today can punish cash flow later. Many retirees discover this after the fact. No one mentioned the second wave because the first tax bill got attention. If you're thinking this sounds backward, you are paying attention. The tax return is not the whole story. Social Security adds another layer. For single filers, benefits may become taxable above $25,000 of combined income. For joint filers, that threshold is $32,000. Above the next level, 85% may be taxable. That does not mean an 85% tax rate. It means more of the benefit becomes taxable. Still, the effect is real. A conversion can pull more Social Security into the taxable column. This is why generic Roth advice fails retirees. Retirement income is stacked, interactive, and often misunderstood. Quick pause. Which retirement age are you planning around right now, 62, 67, or later? Drop it in the comments. I read those answers because retirement timing changes almost every planning assumption. And tell me your biggest conversion concern. Taxes, Medicare, market risk, or running out of money. Now back to the core point. A conversion is not just an investment decision, it is an income decision. That means timing matters. Low-income years are usually where the best conversion opportunities hide for careful planners. Here's the classic window. You retire at 63, delay Social Security, and required distributions have not started. That gap can be gold. Income may be lower, giving you room to convert at friendlier rates. The IRS generally starts required distributions at age 73. Delay the first one, and the next year gets crowded. You can delay the first distribution until April 1st of the following year. Then you may owe 2 withdrawals. That crowding matters. 2 required distributions plus a big conversion can create bracket compression fast. Families who plan ahead use those quieter years intentionally. Families who wait often lose the cleanest window. Let's run wheel numbers again. David retires at 63 with $1 million in a traditional IRA. He delays Social Security until 70. He needs $60,000 a year from taxable savings for living expenses. That gives him flexibility. He can convert perhaps $50,000 to $100,000 annually without crushing taxes. By 70, his traditional balance may be smaller. Future required distributions may also be smaller. That can lower future taxes, reduce Medicare surcharges, and preserve more control. Control is the real product here. Notice what David did not do. He did not convert everything in a burst because a headline scared him. Most people choose wrong at this stage. They optimize for emotional relief instead of lifetime after-tax wealth. Say this out loud if needed. I am not optimizing for today's emotion. I am protecting future flexibility. Say this too. Run the numbers first. My priority is long-term flexibility, not temporary emotional relief. Those phrases sound simple. They interrupt impulse, restore process, and keep expensive decisions from feeling urgent. Conventional advice says max out certainty. The better rule is manage uncertainty across several tax years. That usually means partial conversions, careful bracket management, and cash reserved to pay taxes externally, not hero moves. Lisa shows the opposite case. She inherits cash, expects a pension later, and will have large required distributions. For her, a larger conversion now might actually make sense. Future taxable income could be even higher. This is where authority matters. Good advice is not pro-Roth or anti-Roth. It is pro-context. Consider consulting a fee-only advisor if the stakes are large, especially when Medicare, pensions, and estate goals interact. Another overlooked issue is the 5-year rule. Each conversion has its own clock for penalty considerations. That matters most for people under age 59.5. Timing errors can create avoidable costs. Past performance does not guarantee future results. Neither do today's tax laws or political headlines. So stop asking whether Roth conversions are always good. Ask whether this slice, this year, improves your lifetime plan. Here is the painful insight. Many one-year conversions are really fear trades wearing tax planning clothing. Fear of higher rates, fear of future required distributions, fear of missing some perfect legislative window. Fear is understandable, but expensive. Markets and tax codes already give you enough complexity without emotional overreach. The calmer investor often wins, not because they predict better, but because they commit fewer large errors. That is the deeper truth about money decisions. One massive move feels powerful. Repeated disciplined choices usually build more wealth. You are not behind because this feels hard. The tax code is complicated by design, and retirement income is layered. You are not weak for wanting certainty either. Your brain is wired to reduce ambiguity, even at a cost. But the goal is not certainty. The goal is better odds with fewer self-inflicted penalties. So here's the practical framework. Start with taxable income before any conversion, then identify your next bracket ceiling. Next, estimate Medicare effects, Social Security interactions, and state taxes. If those numbers hurt, reduce the conversion amount. Then decide how taxes will be paid. Cash outside the account often improves long-term outcomes. After that, look at next year now. Good Roth planning is usually at least a 2-year decision. If you want one action today, pull last year's return and mark your taxable income. That is your starting line. Then ask one question. How much room do I have before the next bracket stops making sense? If you cannot answer that clearly, do not convert everything. Unclear math is not a green light. If this video helps, subscribe for more decision frameworks like this. Calm numbers beat loud opinions every time. And in the comments, tell me this. Are you considering a 1-year conversion or a multi-year plan? Smart retirement decisions do not come from urgency. They come from clarity, measured steps, and respect for the math.